£10,000 has been raised for the Future Fund as we speak. I mean, a great donation from the supporters.
It's been an outstanding effort by everyone concerned with setting the whole thing up, and the wild and wonderful places that we've been receiving support from has been outstanding. From a supporter at Norwich who wanted to help manager Mickey out because he's now at Blythe, to a couple of elderly ladies who thought that their husbands, who had been long-time supporters of Blythe in the past, would appreciate a donation. And even just this morning, a gentleman walked into the ground during the training session, put his hand in his wallet, gave you £100 and said, "That's the fighting fund." It's an extremely difficult situation. We're being asked to put together a budget when we haven't got the faintest idea when football will start, how many games we might even play. And I'm sure I can speak for every chairman of every non-league football team at all the various levels that this unprecedented uncertainty is going to make it very difficult. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's more clubs just say they really can't afford to keep the team going, and that'll be very sad. There are a lot of teams where the organising committees are my kind of age, can I say elderly, and they are very apprehensive about going to meetings with their fans, because the elderly guys who run non-league football are quite clearly the most prone to succumb to the virus. So these are very, very difficult times, and the fact that our punters and supporters from not just the UK but all over the world are contributing to our fighting fund is a testimony to the history and the esteem that people all over the world hold Blythe Spartans to.
I mean, how much will the donations help towards, obviously, the playing budget, which what it was said it was?
Well, the key thing is we've got to see the season out. It's one thing putting together a budget and presenting it to the manager that he's got to work with, but if the numbers that we've assumed might come back to support the club on match days, and in non-league football they cannot survive without the income from supporters turning up at matches, we've got to ensure we'll survive. So although we've had really good donations, and I'm delighted to say that our main sponsors have all been very positive and continue the support for the club, it is all about supporters coming through the door, and that is the huge uncertainty at the minute.
And how much credit goes to Mickey as well, coming in such unprecedented times as we know?
Well, obviously he came in at a difficult period at the end of last season. No sooner had he been appointed to the job than the season was terminated. So it's not exactly the start with the club that any manager would want. But he's been here. We started training seriously 3 weeks ago in very small groups, and we're slowly building it up as we get more and more information from the Football Association and the government about exactly how you can train indoors and outdoors. And so we're now pulling the squad together, and each week goes by as we become more confident about the transmission effects. We're slowly pulling the team together.
And how much are you looking forward to welcoming back the supporters at Croft Park whenever it's safe to do so?
Oh, I'm sure I welcome them back for one reason, but our supporters who've been cooped up in their own house, I'm sure they are interested in getting out in the fresh air, and I was going to say shouting for the team, but we might have to restrict shouting because the transmission effects of this virus are just totally incomprehensible. And if people have got to wear masks in the stand, for instance, this is something we're considering, because to keep people socially distanced in any stadium is going to be an extremely complicated affair to manage.